Strap yourself in for more prohibited and available in the state of shock.
Hi everybody, welcome to Drum Talk TV. I'm Dan Schinder here with my very special guest, Don Lombardi of Drum Channel at Drum Channel.
Oh, well, thank you for joining me here.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been great.
Oxnard, California here. We'll get you out to California.
Yeah, which has been wonderful. I lived just about 10 miles from here in Ventura for about 15 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I miss the ocean breeze, which today we don't have. It's an onshore breeze. It's really hot and dusty.
We're in the strawberry fields, the real strawberry fields.
Yeah.
Forever.
All the stuff that gets featured at the California Strawberry Festival, which happens here in Oxnard.
Would you know that this is where the drumming, the drumming capital
the
here?
Drum mecca of the world is right here. DW Drums and Drum Channel right next door to each other. This is really cool. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for all the great things you're doing, too, in the internet community. And
thank you.
It's wonderful for what we can do in that shared space out there to motivate people and get them interested.
Yeah, and I think some people probably think it's really weird that we're doing this together and that we're doing this at Drum Channel. I'm not so sure you would see Modern Drummer and Rhythm Magazine interviewing each other and doing stuff like that. But for us, we've been cultivating a relationship and a friendship. We're in the same business together. We cater to the same community, and we've come together to share and talk about different ideas and stuff.
I've never really, had a competitive edge about me, even with manufacturing. I'm friends with drummers. Whatever drums they play, that's fine with me. There's a lot of choices. There's a lot of reasons why people play different instruments. I enjoy doing what I'm doing and do the best job that I can at it, as you do. But I think the drumming community is unique amongst even musicians. The music community is unique, but the drumming community is even more unique. So I think drummers get together and we talk about what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We each do, the guy's not going to say, don't come hear my band because they might hire you.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about some of those uniquities. Is that a word?
That's a good one. We have a spell check here. Thank you very much.
We're going to use that in Scrabble.
Yes.
I think some of the things that makes the drumming community different amongst other musical communities is, one, I've never met a drummer that doesn't have a great sense of humor. You have to if you're a drummer.
I think that's part of it.
Definitely. Two, and as Stuart was saying in his master class that we saw earlier.
Not that he's a name dropper, but Stuart meaning, of course.
Stuart Copeland.
That's right.
Yeah, and he was right on when he said that drummers are sharers. We share each other's techniques and styles and tricks. We love geeking out on each other's gears, whereas, let's face it, guitar players, keyboard players aren't always exactly that open with
drummers
each other.
Drummers do clinic. We do clinics, we show each other, what we're doing. Guitar Center shows you want me to show you something really cool?
Right, exactly. There you go. That's what a guitar player does. So it is unique, I think, in our behaviors and practices.
The guys, right here where we're sitting, we'll have Neil Peart doing something and Alex Acuna is visiting, and before you know it, he's giving a lesson to Neil, and Neil's taking a lesson from a jazz drummer, from Peter Erskine when he's here. So. It's whatever level the players are at, and these are our, are the gods, the people that we, look so much up to. They're as excited to hang out with each other as we are with them, or any two drummers are to get together and hang out. I think it's just the instrument itself is unique in that it's, it offers so many facets. And you can be a really good drummer and not have all that much technique because you fill the main requirements of what a drummer is supposed to do in a band. You can have a lot of technique and, explore that and be more of a soloist and be very musical, also. As opposed to learning, your instrument, pick any other instrument where you would then be able to sit down and play, any kind of music that would be in front of you because you can read and you know the instrument. I've always thought the biggest difference for us is that we are the instrument. And Freddie Gruber brought that up to me in a early days when I was studying with him. He said, playing drums is one thing. Go to the gig at night and play. But if you're here, we're talking about building the instrument.
That's interesting.
And really, the bell of the horn produces the sound, the keys of the piano, but there's a lot going on. Valves are moving, things are happening all over the place. And we got two pieces of wood,
Yeah.
You know, nothing too technical going on there.
Right.
You know, and we're hitting something, we're hitting a membrane, you know, and
Yeah.
that produces the sound.
Yeah.
But what allows us to create what we hear, you know,
Yeah.
it has to be the way we use our bodies.
Right, and getting into the rhythm, getting into the groove, the pulse of it all.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing that you see interviewing great drummers, and that I see too. You know, they can learn by taking lessons, as if you were with a local teacher. Here's what I want you to do now. Here's what I want you to do next week, and progress.
Right.
Or you get those moments that, you know, I used to live for growing up, when you would have to hang out backstage and hope you could, like, you know, meet somebody who knew Alvin, and I got to, like, spend, you know, lunch with him one day, or
Wow.
get to know Buddy in his later years, and you just, like, get little
nuggets.
tidbits of things
Yeah.
that are life experiences that really, you know, that are as educational as, you know, sitting down and woodshedding for 10 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we can bring to the world, I think, through the internet.
Definitely. And don't ever stop learning, no matter how long you've been playing, no matter how good you are or think you are. Don't ever think you have it all figured out, or that you don't ever be complacent with how you play. I've been playing 44 years, and I think I'm finally starting to sort of get it figured out. And part of that figuring out is the constant learning, and really embracing that there's so much to learn from. I love encouraging drummers to learn from music that maybe they're not real fond of. And I think that stretches you to really listen to, what is that drummer doing? What does make that groove, that music he's playing with that band that I don't like, but obviously has mass appeal to other people? What is it? I think there's a lot of lessons in doing that.
No question about it. It's an instrument where, you know, however good you get at it, in terms of being proficient at it, there's going to be certain genres that you're going to have to learn.
Right.
You know, and drummers get somewhat pigeonholed. I mean, great drummers can play everything, and lots of times it's because of the genre of the band that they're in.
Right.
We've had drummers come out here, when Quibus joined us at Drum Channel some years ago, who was the most viewed drummer on YouTube, and he, you know, his playing career was completely self-taught from a small town in South Africa, and you're going to, as far as challenging yourself, just do what's in your comfort zone, because you're not going to play a cover tune that's in 11, because nobody's taught you how to play in 11. But when he comes up here and meets the drummers who actually were the drummer on that track, and finds out that they were in stage band, they play jazz, they were in marching,
Maybe they were in drumline.
Drumline, yeah, right. And this all, you know, so when you hear them and you hear how good they are, you can emulate them, but you really have to know how they got to where they were at, because that's why they got the gig.
Right. Let's talk about Drum Channel.
Yeah.
There are about 8 people who really aren't sure what it is, what it does, what it's for.
Oh, there's millions of people who don't know what it is. I hope, because we need a lot more people to sign up.
Hopefully a lot of you are watching Drum Talk TV so you can get turned on to this. Let's start with how it started. How did Drum Channel begin, Don?
Well, it started, it's kind of interesting, because I started teaching when I was 16, and when I started actually playing professionally my first gigs. And I always loved teaching. It was just something that I always had a passion for, and did it for 20 years of my life, as I was continuing to play and support the family as a musician, and teaching. And back in those days, there was a lot of work. I mean, not only within clubs, but played a lot traveling in what we call the show circuit, which is Vegas, Reno, Tahoe.
Yeah. There was a lot more live music and a lot
more
less
live music.
Electronic devices.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. And it's live music that we love.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes drummers, I think.
Yes.
So I, as you know, I had the happenstance to get into manufacturing, because I had invented a few things, and I had the opportunity to buy Campco, a whole different story. In the early 80s, you know, I kind of had to make a decision. I thought I had a chance at maybe being successful with the company, with Drum Workshop, and so for 4 or 5 years, you can burn the candle at both ends and play nights and teach, and then do that during the day. But at one point, you kind of got to figure you're going to hawk the car in the house and do it full time to really give it its due. So I got away from education and teaching through, you know, a good part of all those years, and about 6-7 years ago, it's kind of become the family joke. It's like, because I've been talking about it forever. I want to get into education, I want to start some stuff, and of course the internet became the obvious way to get the information out there. I'd love teaching one-on-one too if I were to have more time to do that, because nothing like going over and grab a kid's hand and having him get it,
I would sign up for a lesson.
So and I was fortunate to have, some great next to Rolly, who passed away at an early age, but he was like a seminal studio drummer, and Freddie Gruber I studied with for 5 years, and Cullen Bailey, and so I was fortunate to have a good background of teachers that I could pull from.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do you pass that on, but also take the big advantage of being so lucky as a drummer to be able to hang out with all these great drummers through my manufacturing life, who are anxious to give back or are looking for a way that they could get their lessons out there and would help them be known more as teachers. So the family joke is, are you going to wait like another till you're 103 to do this, Dad? Or I mean, the company's going okay. My son became the CEO. My daughter works in scheduling all the production. So I just said, yeah, so I'll give it a shot. It was kind of like my, fun thing, and not that I would ever retire because I love tinkering and inventing and things. I'm still very busy with the manufacturing side, but something that I would really enjoy and get back into and would do kind of as a part-time. And that was the idea. In a couple of years, we'd have this up and running. Well, the joke part of it is I'm working more hours now than I did when I started the manufacturing company, because it's become, as you know, it's a challenge. You know? It's a challenge. You have great content, how you can keep up with the technology and get it out there. And so Drum Channel basically began as a labor of love so I could get back into education and do it in a way in which we could take advantage of as much technology as there is out there today and all of the great drummers to get their information out. And it still is a work in progress. It's real quick backstory. We lost about 3 years at the beginning because we had developers develop, my dream site that absolutely didn't work. So, it really became a dream. Wasn't a good dream. It kind of became a nightmare actually.
Oh, no.
Right. So of the past 6 years, we've really been up and running for the last 2 years, and really we're about the end of this year before it's everything that I would wanted it to be from a technological standpoint as far as disseminating information.
So is that the biggest evolution it's gone through so far, is the technology side of it?
Yeah, and the problem is, and I'm the worst guilty, and I'm sure you know this well. I couldn't stop gathering footage because people kept coming out here and wanting to do things, and for you, aspiring producers out there, I'll tell you, shooting it is easy. Editing it and getting it out there is 4 times longer. So if you keep shooting it, you will never get to editing some of this stuff.
Right, and you still got to run the business. You got to market, you got to promote, you got to develop how the content is going to look new as you go. There's so much to do. People just don't realize.
We have terabytes full of footage that we're going to be getting up hopefully over the next year. Some great, nitty-gritty educational stuff, and some real, great poignant moments of inspiration too.
Great.
So looking at what does the community want, and Drum Channel, I think our biggest challenge now is, we're certainly 35 up in terms of the demographic of subscribers on it. Our YouTube channel is the opposite. It's 15 to 25. And we've been focusing a lot more on our YouTube channel, providing content specifically for our YouTube channel so people will subscribe to that. Not in the educational area so much, but more in the area of shows and short 2, 3, 4 minute videos. And the goal of that is to get the younger kids aspiring to take it to the next step.
And get hooked on the educational aspect.
Get hooked on the educational aspect of it, right. And understand the importance of education. For years I was trying to tell people why what we had to offer was different than what they would get just by playing cover songs. And then I just decided, we should embrace that, and explain to them that not that we have something that's really good, but it's that they need to learn. They need to play cover. We all play cover tones, I mean, I go back to the needle on the record player going back and forth.
Yeah, me too.
So trying to
quarters on it to keep the drums from bouncing the needle on the record.
Exactly right. So, so it's coming to fruition now, I think.
That's great. How does your content segment out? There's education, which I'm sure, and when I say education, I mean by lessons, and they probably break down to different levels, not just of aptitude, but different levels of subscriptions, and then you've got the interview conversations.
Actually, at this point, it's there's one, you can buy a 1 month, a 6 month, or a 1 year, but basically there's one subscription access that gets you, access to everything on the site. We will be having some tiered subscription accesses coming up where certain players will have more classes on the site and they'll be available to give more interaction with the students. So, it's like $5 a month now, and that gets you access to everything, or less if you buy it for a year. So the idea is like, we're not competing with anybody, because I don't care where you study. I grew up, you'd have your Ludwig catalog when I was 9, 10 years old. When Modern Drummer came out, you'd have Modern Drummer. You wouldn't think, oh, I'm going to take a lesson, so I'm not going to spend, $2 a month on a magazine. So it's just like, study wherever you can study, and take advantage of local teachers. I'm a huge advocate for private instruction. A lot of people around the world aren't as lucky as we are in LA.
Yeah, they don't have the access to it.
No, right.
There's all kinds of reasons why. But
and a lot of the teachers that are working with us on Drum Channel will give their private lesson and then give them a Drum Channel lesson to study during the week also. So, I'm getting long-winded here, but
no, you're fine. Yeah, this is all great. Yeah, I want them to understand some of the conversations that happen over there at the table when you've got different mixes of drummers. Sometimes it's like an interview, and sometimes it's just guys and girls just talking about drumming and different approaches. How does that break up into different shows or series?
Basically there's two main areas of the site. We have the lessons and shows. And shows are, entertainment, but they're also very educational. And what I found out early on as we started doing lessons, obviously a lot of guys wanted to play in bands, and they all have something, especially, even Chad Smith has his Meat Bats, he has his, they have side bands, they have other things that they want to promote.
Right.
And I went mega overboard on building this studio. It's much more than you need for just producing internet content. But it was kind of difficult because if you're having these caliber of people come out, you get J.R. Robinson, you get Jim Keltner. These are people that are the creme de la creme studio people. You kind of got to invite them out into a place that has kind of a vibe and looks kind of nice, So, and little by little, we've built up, the audio side of it, where we're even doing some tracking because the room has turned out to get a really nice buzz as far as just the sound goes. But the shows are kind of edutainment, if you will, and they kind of grew, more organically out of the fact that people wanted to come out here and do more than just give lessons. And I thought that's great because it would get more people onto the site, just like we're using YouTube as a vehicle to get more people inspired, to take lessons. And then within the lesson side of it, again, it's grown organically, and we're going to be doing some restructuring there where we'll make the content a little simpler for people to get to based on wherever they are. You're either a hobbyist or you're a semi-pro, intermediate, or you're a pro. And we do have lessons for pros. If and I'm talking about, guys that are deciding they need to practice 8 hours a day. Marco minimum 6-way independence it's the rest of your life if you want to
if you really dedicate yourself.
It's like the stick control book. You'll never finish that class that we have. Well, at the same time, Chad Smith has how to play basic rock drumming Chad's way, really basic lessons. So there's various drummers who will give you a series of lessons, and then there's a long series of short lessons we call Secrets from the Pros, where guys come out here and give you 3 or 7 minute tips, if you will, that you can pick up on. And Terry Bozio has a complete class on the art of drumming, which we haven't finished editing yet. We're about halfway through, and that gets into his mind. So you will understand how he does and what he does when you get through that, and you'll become a much more musical drummer. Whether you want to play like he does or not, it's going to bring.
At least you have those tools in your toolbox.
And Greg Bissonette has his drum school on too, which is ever ongoing and building up more and more. So you can get kind of involved in those individuals, or you can get ongoing, or you can get certain series of lessons from great drummers, or you can just get short tips. So it's it's ongoing in terms of what you can get and what you can do.
Yeah, definitely. What is the biggest difference between the YouTube material, just so that everybody knows what they would have access to check out on YouTube anytime they want?
Early on, actually, we were using it more as trailers, if you will, or taking little segments to show, so people would be on YouTube and kind of know what we had on Drum Channel. But as the YouTube community changes a little bit, we're now looking at producing, if I don't want to say edgier, but more music video, YouTube-ish type content, partnering closely with GoPro. So we'll be shooting a lot of content that are exclusively with GoPro cameras.
Great.
And make it maybe a little more lifestyle. You know, we've got a couple of drummers that are out golfing and racing their cars and just things, so you get to know them as people, you know, and understand that, yeah, they practiced a lot of hours to get as good as they got. Don't you think that they didn't?
Right, definitely.
But they have, you know, they bring to what they're doing their personalities. Yes?
Yeah.
And I think drums is an instrument where maybe not more than others, but my personal opinion is it seems like, you know, if we had 10 violinists here and they were all great, they would all sound really good. But if you had 10 drummers, their personalities are going to be very much like they're playing. Jim Keltner's that kind of a person. You know?
It's a very expressive instrument.
Yeah.
Because it is the most physical, and it literally comes through us to the tips of our fingers and
probably it
everything.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's on the horizon for Drum Channel? What can people look forward to? This is being filmed at the end, literally the end. This is the last day of April, 2014. So for the rest of the year and moving into 2015, which sounds so weird to say.
Well, we are going to finish answering your previous question, kind of on the YouTube side of things. We're producing more specific content just for YouTube, building our YouTube subscribers. Again, trying to get the younger demographic involved in music, so that they can see the percentage of them that would want to take it to the next level, or just get exposed to it by getting to learn more about who these people are as opposed to what they play, and certainly not yet how you hold the sticks and that kind of a thing.
Right.
So I think, you know, the thing that's going to be the biggest thing for us coming down the road is just the constant evolution of staying up with technology. I mean, we were way behind on just being on mobile devices last year.
Right.
And I'll have to say part of our growth is the fact that I'm wearing a few hats. So around here, as you see me running around like a wild man here a little bit today, with a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
so
there was a lot going on.
It's a slow process, you know, to get things moving forward. But and I think we were 6-7 years ago a little ahead of our time actually with what we were trying to do. So I feel with your site, with a lot of other sites out there, people are getting how the internet can be used in various different ways for education at various different levels. And then, you know, you pick and shoot. You got the advantage of, unlike finding one teacher and staying with them, you can find a good private teacher, and then you can look at, you know, how much time do you want to practice tonight?
Yeah,
you know,
you can learn so many things from so many different people that specialize in X, Y, or Z.
Check out your site and see who you're interviewing and talking to. You know, you can come on the Drum Channel and see what lessons we have coming up this week.
Right.
You go on to Mike's lessons and, you know, take a lesson with him. You go on to Drumeo and take 80 lessons a day. I mean, you know, so you'd have to be retired, I think. But but and a lot of it is, you know, the same thing with, you know, actually DW drums would be the same thing. Same thing with you too. The amount of professional drummers we have watching it, you know, isn't as near as much as, you know, the hobbyists or the drummers who are, you know, playing in bands a couple of days a week and just want to pick up a little bit. Yeah, and definitely. What do you see on the horizon, by the way?
We see, that's a good question. We're going through enormous growth right now, not just in audience size, but in content size and content diversity. We grew 10 times in less than a year. We started January of 2013, and it was pointed out to me earlier by Lori that in June we had 6,600 likes on Facebook, one platform to measure by, with pretty high engagement. And now only 10 months, I guess, forward, we are creeping up on, in 2 days, 3 days, we'll have 66,000 likes on Facebook. We're picking up 500 fans or more a day from about 70 countries. The likes aren't the most important thing, it's the engagement. When you have the engagement, it means people are, and thank you for paying attention to our content and commenting on it and sharing it, and that's what makes it a community. So we've taken all that experience of really listening to our audience to find out more of what people want, and we're expanding our series. We've had the performance masters and the master educators and the Legend series, and we're starting to break out more with the Prodigy series, people like Alexi.
That's a new one coming
Yeah.
out, right?
Kids that are like 10 and under that are just phenomenal players. We have a Drum Heroes series. And so we're expanding that a little bit more. The Producer's Desk series, where we have producers and engineers on to talk about recording drums and the difference really between being a studio player and a live player. And the same person can be good at both if they can delineate those two jobs. They're two different jobs,
Sure.
performing and playing in the studio. So our biggest things on the horizon are expanding our audience even further and giving them more diversified content. Yeah.
And we may be working together on that. I think we're going to.
Yeah, I think that by the time this comes out, which will be pretty soon, we will know exactly what that is, and you'll find out about it again shortly after that. We're really excited about that.
That's the good. That means you have to come back to find out
Exactly.
more. That's good. See, you're the
You
pro
like
at
that?
this. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm a teaser.
I'm not good at these hooks and stuff. Teaser.
This whole
I'm
thing
learning.
was a hook. Dan,
I'm
why don't
learning.
you come down to Drum Channel?
I'm learning. We had a fun day today, by the way. Tell them for 2 minutes what happened today.
Yeah, wow, let's see. Well, it started out where we got here and Stuart Copeland was putting on a master class. We got to sit in and watch that. People came from all over the world, a handful of drummers.
India.
Male and female. India, a young little girl who was what, maybe 6? Yeah, 6 years old, to learn from Stuart right here on these 2 drum kits here on this set. And he went on and on, ask me another question. It was great. I was thinking, I'm going to run out of interview questions. But it was fantastic. And then he was here with director and world percussionist John Bryant, who directed the film Dare to Drum, which Stuart composed a symphonic piece to using John's De Drum World Percussion Group and the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. So we got to interview John. We got to interview Stuart. We got to watch the master class, and the big finale, ta-da, is Don Lombardi on Drum Talk TV here at the Drum Channel. Just use your imagination a little bit. It works. There's nothing freaky about that.
When you get to be my age, you're the finale. That's if you're long enough, you get introduced really well.
No, it's the best
you
for
get
last.
Introduced really well.
This is capping off our day, other than a couple meetings.
It is. It's been quite the day.
Yeah.
Exciting too.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate you having us down to cover all that stuff and talk with you and see how things work. And we were next door with John Good at DW this morning, did an interview with John, so you can all look for that on the site. And yeah, it's been fun. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, now you know what we got here.
Thank you.
You're welcome back anytime.
Great. I might move back to the area.
Look forward to seeing you soon. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining Don Lombardi and myself here on DrumTalkTV.com at the Drum Channel. All their information's right here. Check it out. Look it up. Tap into all the lessons, all the artists, all the conversations, all the tips and nuggets. Get schooled. School yourself. Keep practicing. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.